welcome. Thank you for joining me. I am Yoshi Lan, and as I said in my last video, we're going to be talking about narcissism. What is narcissism? I've done a lot of asking myself in recent times because it's not really something that I really bothered looking into. But when I realized that one of my recent relationships was highly narcissistic, it got me to reconsider and really stop and take a look. What is going on here? Why did our energies diverge? Because I made changes in my life, in my behavior, and then after that, the narcissism just split off. So one of the things that a lot of people don't really understand is what exactly is narcissism. So before we even move forward, let's define narcissism and let's understand what narcissism is on an energetic level. Okay, so what narcissism does, it's a very self-absorbing energy. So if you have that type of energy, these type of people who have narcissistic tendencies, they're going to want to draw energy from all sorts of sources. Okay, the key word here is siphon. They siphon energy. And this is probably where the whole vampirism thing came from. Psychic vampirism is very similar, if not identical, to narcissism. Okay? So, narcissism is a behavior where the person will do whatever it takes. Okay? And this is expressed in two fundamental ways because we have the yin and the yang. What are the two fundamental ways that narcissism expresses itself? The yang is egotism, right? Egotism is, oh my god, how awesome am I? Aren't I awesome? Like, look at all the stuff I've done. You know, I've helped personally 30,000 people in one-on-one sessions because I am just so awesome and I love helping people. You know, that's egotism. That's just flat out egotism. When somebody says it that way, it's like this bombastic energy where you know they want to impress you because, oh man, 30,000 people, how long did that take? That must have been very, you know, they want you to give them compliments of how amazing they are. That's egotism. The other one is egoism, okay? No T, egoism. So egotism is egotistical, that's very boastful, they put themselves on a pedestal, they want to siphon energy and awe, right? They want to siphon energy from people to boost them up because of their insecurities. They want to fill in this void that they have inside themselves with energy from other people. Now, egoism, egoistic, is different from that. So the reason why this is yin is because egoism is receiving energy. Okay, so they will do things in a way where it's self-serving, always self-serving when they're in their narcissistic state. Okay, people who are narcissistic doesn't mean they are narcissists. Okay, very different thing. Even narcissists aren't narcissists 100% of the time. So let's just get that clear. There's no such thing as a narcissist. There's no such thing as a narcissist, a true narcissist, where they're like that 100% of the time. Most of the time, they'll have narcissistic tendencies. So that's why I use that particular phrasal. Okay, they have narcissistic tendencies. Now, when they do egoism, egoistic approach, everything is self-serving. So, you know, what can you do to help me? Because I am so awesome. I need support. I need help to do what I want to do because my vision is so great. Give me your power. Give me your time, your resources. You know, these are all types of selfish, truly selfish motives, and that's egoism. Okay, so yang, egotism, they're radiating bombast. I am so awesome. Then you have yin, egoism, where they want to pull in all of this energy to help support them in whatever they're doing. But in both cases, it's for the purpose of pulling in energy, siphoning energy from their people, their friends, their families, their coworkers, wherever they are in this narcissistic mode, okay? So what is narcissistic tendencies? What brings this about? It's really about ego, right? That's why there's the two words, egoism and egotistic. It's somebody who is so triggered that they have to do things in a particular way. They're in their mindset where they don't have enough. And when people are triggered, it can be anybody, right? In the past, when I was super triggered, I was also highly narcissistic. And the fact of the matter is, if you are in a relationship with somebody who's narcissistic, it's because you yourself have those kinds of energies or are a perfect complement to narcissistic energies. As in, you're the opposite. So what is the counterpart of a narcissist? Saint syndrome. Somebody who's willing to just give everything they have to people who they think are better than themselves. Okay? So Saint syndrome is the counterpart to narcissistic syndrome. So what is it that causes you to want to give and give and give without filling yourself up first, right? So those are two different ways that you can attract a narcissist into your life, or why you have narcissists in your life, narcissistic people. If you are yourself a closet narcissist, you will draw people to experience the other side of what you yourself do when you're triggered. Okay, keyword, when you're triggered. Then that's when these narcissistic tendencies come out, because that's when the ego defense mechanisms come in. And there's a whole slew of different types of ego defense mechanisms that you can look up in psychology. There's just fundamental ways that energy is being utilized, moved, pulled, or given, all sorts of stuff. So I did a lot of research on this, and as I was going through all the different ego defense mechanisms, I kept listing and listing and listing, and I was like, there's a classical 17, then there's the newer ones, and then I added like 50 something more to that list, and I'm like, this is way too ridiculous. There's got to be a simpler way to look at this, and that's their energy. So when the person doesn't think they're enough, then their ego defense mechanisms will create different types of behavior where they will siphon energy, whether it's through manipulation, through egotism, through egoism. There's different mechanisms that people can use in order for them to draw energy. So if you are on the other end, if you have Saint syndrome, then ask yourself, where does this come from? Usual thing, right? The person who is having Saint syndrome doesn't think they're good enough. That's why they just give whatever they have, because deep down they believe that other people can use their resources, their energy, their time much more effectively than they can themselves. So Saint syndrome, narcissist syndrome, really two sides of the same coin. One is the yin, one is the yang, or actually in this case, narcissists are the yin, saints are the yang, right? Because saints are the ones giving and narcissists are the ones receiving. So you have that yin and yang aspect with the way the energies are flowing. The person who is the yin is going to be the one sucking in energy in a lot of cases. And this is just in terms of how energy is flowing, this has nothing to do with masculine and femininity, just so you know. There are men who are very yin, right? Very narcissistic, just like there are women who are also very yin and very narcissistic. It's just different ways that people express themselves. And there's many different ways that this can come about. You can just take a look at the list of defense mechanisms. There's way more than just narcissism. So if you look at narcissism, the definition is very complicated. There's like nine different things that are traits that they go by to classify whether you're a narcissist or not. That's all complicated. Is the person at the fundamental level siphoning energy for their own needs on a selfish, egotistic, or egoistic mode, right? If yes, then that's a narcissistic person. All right? Whew. Hopefully that made sense. It's a lot more sophisticated of an explanation, but that's the simplest that I could possibly make it. And as you learn more about energy and how the yin and yang principle works throughout reality, when I talk about the yin and yang expression of how different things are, it will become easier to understand, because it's different from dualism. There's no such thing as dualism, okay? Everything is on a spectrum. It's just one thing. A saint is not different from a narcissist. They're on the same spectrum. It's just different expressions of the same energy. One person is more likely to give, one person's more likely to receive. Just like in the narcissist spectrum, you have yet another spectrum, right? You have egoism and you have egotism. So even as a yin force, narcissism has a yin and a yang. Okay? Well, that's pretty much about it about narcissism. I didn't want to bring in many examples. I just wanted to discuss what exactly narcissism is. And, I notice a lot of spiritual people don't really understand what narcissism is, nor do they want to admit that they themselves have narcissistic energies that attract it and manifest it in their life, or they have complementary energies that attract and manifest it in their lives, right? Because if you don't attract it and manifest it to experience what it's like and to go, hey, this is not kosher, this is not how I want to be using my energy constantly for other people. When you have such an extreme example of that, it snaps you out of it, hopefully. That's the key word, right? It snaps you out of it. It's a lesson for you to learn, you got boundary issues. You gotta make stronger boundaries so that none of these bitches can just come along and siphon your energy. Whatever energy you have left, they will suck it out of you. And then when you run out of energy, they will move on to the next person and siphon that person's energy until that person's also dry. And then they have all these different people that they've sucked dry, because that's what they do. They just keep moving on, and they don't realize how much it hurts the other person, because they're so focused on filling in this thing that's inside of them that they're not addressing directly. And if they address it directly, then they wouldn't have this issue. So, there's a lot of videos out there about narcissism. I disagree personally with a lot of those videos, because you don't fight narcissism, you don't deal with narcissism, you can discern narcissism, right? Because narcissism is a type of energy that's like a black hole. It's continuously sucking in energy. So you can identify it, but what do you do after that? You look at yourself, okay? You look at yourself. Are you attracting it because this is based on your karmic energies, or you're attracting it because you're a complete complement to the narcissist. All right, so that pretty much wraps up everything that you pretty much need to know on the down low for narcissism. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. If you're struggling with somebody who has narcissistic tendencies, or if you in the past had narcissistic tendencies and no longer do, chances are you're also in a relationship right now with people who have narcissistic tendencies, because it's a way of us to do karmic resolution, right? It's to show the universe, hey, I learned it, I got it, I get it, okay? I'm not gonna be narcissistic anymore. So there's these people in our lives that pop up so that we can help them through it, or we can make wise choices and take wise actions so that they themselves, as along with us, do not get hurt in the process, right? We're using discernment, we're using wise decisions as well as actions. All right. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you heard, if the information was very beneficial for you, please subscribe to my channel and support me by liking this video. And I'll see you guys around. All right. Namaskara. Have a great day.